President Trump is currently overseas in Scotland, but he's also busy cleaning up some major blue city messes back at home. And on two major fronts, the Trump administration is suing New York City and Mayor Eric Adams over its sanctuary city policies. It's in the wake of that horrific migrant crime, two illegal immigrants shooting an off-duty Border Patrol agent in the face. 47 says New York City is just the start.
We're going against a lot of other places, too. We want to bring safety to our cities, but that's going to be a pretty routine filing with other cities, too. As you know, we've started numerous lawsuits with other cities. We want to bring safety. We've got to get the criminals out, and we're doing it in record numbers.
Before we dive in, if you're tired of sugar-coated politics and want unfiltered commentary that actually says what you're thinking, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Backhand explaining right, would you support Trump's homeless plan if it meant cleaner, safer cities? Comment yes or no. Let's get into it. All right, starting strong. Trump might be in Scotland sipping tea, but apparently he's also waging legal war on sanctuary cities from across the pond. And let's be real, after an off-duty Border Patrol agent gets shot in the face, it's not hard to see why this lawsuit isn't just political theater. This is the kind of moment where you ask, why is this even controversial? Suing cities that protect illegal shooters isn't partisan. It's common sense. Also, routine filing? Sounds like there are more coming. Buckle up, blue cities.
President Trump is also laser focused on cleaning up the homeless crisis that blue cities have refused to tackle. He just signed an executive order to make it easier for cities and local governments to remove homeless people from the streets and get them treatment elsewhere. It's a promise he made on the campaign trail.
We have to take care of our homeless. We have to get them out. This is no good for anybody. It's bad for the people who need help, and it's bad for the people of our city, and it's a horrible, horrible way to live. I want to work in partnership with your local leaders, Democrats, pretty much all, and move the severely mentally ill off your streets and back into a place where they can get help and the help that they desperately need.
Okay, this is the meat of it. Trump isn't just ranting, he's pulling policy levers. He's targeting the homeless crisis and emphasizing mental health treatment. That's a big pivot from just clean up the streets. And honestly, this is no good for anybody. He's right. You can't claim compassion while letting people rot on sidewalks. The question is, will local leaders cooperate, or will they scream authoritarian while doing absolutely nothing?
Shannon, that strikes me as the first proposal that actually protects citizens and also the unhoused, as the libs call them, which up until now, no amount of money they've pushed at the problem has been effective at actually getting those people off the streets.
Yeah, you're right, because we see reaction from the left. Yesterday, it came in very quickly saying the president is targeting disabled and unhoused people. But as you point out, they've spent so much money. What is their plan? Because in many places, California is a great example. It's only gotten worse. You know who also thinks some of this stuff is a great idea is Governor Gavin Newsom. Because do you remember when he went out there and he did like the little cleanup with his little polo on and he was out saying, we've got to get these encampments out of here. I think part of that is, first of all, the Supreme Court last year said you can. Cities and states can get out there and clean this stuff up. But also he's thinking 2028. I got to think cynically, he does not like the optics of people that are strung out and laying around with waste and all kinds of things on the streets of some of the most beautiful cities in his state. So he also agrees with the president on some of this cleanup stuff, but I think he's thinking optics for 2028.
Oof, Shannon just exposed a whole layer of political fakery. Gavin Newsom suddenly cares about encampments when he's thinking about 2028? That's not compassion. That's campaign cleanup. The Supreme Court already said cities can take action. So why wait until election optics are on the line? If you need a polo shirt and polling data to finally move tents, you're part of the problem, not the solution.
Which, wouldn't that be, Jesse, actually helping the problem? You would think everyone would be on board, and you would think everyone would be on board at the understanding that if you don't play by the rules and follow the law, you'll get your federal funding withdrawn.
Well, they're not on board with the homeless thing because you have these civil libertarians and you have these radical ACLU types that will sue. And they say, you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want it. And it's destroying the city. And these people really were aggressive in litigating these issues for quite some time. And it started in the 70s. And you've seen the permissive attitude, the results of it. And so is it compassionate to let someone slowly kill themselves on a public street corner in front of children? Is that what this society should be? The answer is obviously no. And what the NYPD needs to do in this city and other police precincts need to do it, they need to do mass sweeps, and they need to take these people off the streets, and they need to put them in asylums or centers in the countryside where they're not tempted by all of the disgusting things that happen in the metropolitan area. The potency of narcotics is so much stronger than it used to be. And you combine that with the population growth in these cities where you got bikes and you have cars, it's really dangerous now. And what is the threshold for involuntary commitment? You're a danger to yourself and you're a danger to others. So if you allow someone to pitch a tent on a city street and shoot heroin and then pass out naked in front of everybody and then wake up, howl at the moon, run into the street, get hit by a car, and the police can't do anything about that, you're asking for a lot of trouble. We deserve more. We are the most technologically advanced civilization, the most powerful, the wealthiest. Why don't we have beautiful cities like Paris? Why don't we have safe cities like Copenhagen? Why aren't we clean like Tokyo? It's not too much to ask.
Jesse came in hot. And frankly, he's saying what a lot of people are thinking but don't dare say. The reality? Public compassion can't mean letting people die slowly in the open. And that line, is it compassionate to let someone kill themselves on a street corner in front of children? That hits hard. And why don't we have cities like Paris or Tokyo? It's not about resources. It's about guts, political will, accountability. You can't solve urban decay with virtue signals and a pile of lawsuits.
And that's what I don't understand, Jessica, is that when you look at the issue, the answer to that the homeless deserve better. So Seattle pays $1 million a year per homeless person, California $24 billion, with nothing to show other than apparently the nonprofits lining their pockets because those people are still dying on the streets. They deserve to be housed, to be clean, to be sanitary, to be free of sexual assaults. But I don't feel like I hear anyone talking about those arguments. And I'm curious, when inevitably those people sue the Trump administration, what argument are they going to make when this is helping the homeless?
Well, dozens of states have actually changed their policies in the last few years to make sure that you can actually force more people into treatment. That includes a bunch of blue states, including Oregon, which is one of the more liberal states in the country. So this is in line with the national mood, I guess, about it. And here in New York City, and we talked about the Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny case a lot when it was going on, I think that was frankly, a really seminal event in the conversation around what do we do with violent members of the homeless population. Jordan Neely, who unfortunately passed away from that interaction, was on the list, the top 50 most aggressive homeless people in New York City, was threatening people and had done this repeatedly, which is why I think that public sentiment really ended up on the side of Daniel Penny, who kind of sprung into action in defense of himself and the rest of the people on the train car. Now, I'm not sure how much Donald Trump can actually do in terms of implementing this executive order. He's certainly out there saying this is what I want to happen, but we have our own states and our own state laws and procedures. What I think would help a lot is to talk as well about the cuts to programs. So he's taken $1 billion away from mental health services and treatment centers, et cetera. So if you marry those two things up and you really make it clear that you want to make sure that these programs are funded and also that you will be building more affordable housing, which is the crux of so much of this problem. I'm not talking about the person who Jesse described, probably not a real person, but like the average homeless person that you see who would love to be able to get into an apartment if
but
they
could.
don't,
Jessica. They don't.
You say that about everyone. I
because
think
I've
if you
interviewed these people, and everybody knows they want to do drugs on the street.
And everyone's a crack addict who just wants to be in an open air
environment. And it's mental addiction, Jessica. It's
I'm
not
not
about
saying
housing.
mental illness.
Okay, now we're into the clash of ideas. Jessica tries to offer nuance. Some states are shifting laws, sure, but the bigger question is, are these programs effective or are they just feel-good policies? And Emily nails it. $1 billion homeless budget in California, and yet the streets are still filled with tents and tragedy. So, where's the money going? It's a valid question. If the answer is nonprofits, then we've got a very different problem on our hands.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because Greg, so you and I talked about this earlier. That I mean, there's a woefully inadequate amount of state beds for the thousands of people, of those mentally ill. Because the reality is, when we walk up and down 6th Avenue, I'm not seeing people that are just wish for a home. I'm seeing people that are really freaky and really scary, and most importantly, scary to themselves.
Even if the affordability of the house was free, it would be destroyed. These are people that are not interested in affordable housing. They're not interested in housing at all. The average homeless person is not the way the media portrays that person to be. Again, Trump does things that liberals will say they don't like, but are secretly grateful for. He did this with the border. He did that with trans and sports, and he's doing it here. Libs don't like doing this stuff because they don't want to lose their status as the compassionate liberal.
Whoa.
Greg just took the gloves off. Suicidal empathy. That phrase should be studied. Because yeah, enabling chaos while claiming to be kind is tearing cities apart. And here's the truth bomb. Not every homeless person is a victim. Some are running a lifestyle hustle. If you're offended by that, maybe it's time to step outside your bubble and look at what's actually happening on city streets. Also, calling out tourists who throw money at panhandlers while sipping oat milk lattes. That's Pete Gregg, and he's not wrong. This episode was a wild ride. From lawsuits over sanctuary policies to executive orders on homelessness to some brutal truths about what compassion really looks like. Backhanded ex-pointing down, so let's ask the big question. Would you support removing encampments if it meant safer, cleaner streets? Would you back Trump's plan, or do you think cities need another path? Speech Balloon, drop your thoughts below, and don't hold back. We read every single comment.